So maybe
is going.
Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Jacksonville, a production of the University of North Florida's Department of Communication and CW17. I'm Pierce Turner.
And I'm Nora Zacharia. We're here each month with stories about life of our favorite coast, the First Coast.
Today we're taking a closer look at our generational differences in the search of common grounds that can often bridge these gaps. Love may be universal and timeless, but that doesn't mean technology isn't changing the way we meet, date, and even marry, regardless of age. Inside Jacksonville's Tiffany Salome introduces us to couples seeking the same end through very different means.
Casey and Adam have been married for over 20 years. Before that, dating for them was spontaneous and unexpected.
we had actually been on a double date.
We've been on a couple double dates.
Yeah.
And then at one point kind of looked at each other. I think I like that one better.
When they were dating, social media wasn't around, and they had to meet the old-fashioned way.
There was no social media, there was no internet, there was no... You met through your social circle.
For them, modern online dating is something they don't see themselves doing.
I wouldn't know what to do if I was single now. If something happened between us or something happened to him.
While couples like Casey and Adam met in a social setting like this, nowadays younger couples are meeting online.
Meet Mark and Eileen. They met using the dating app Tinder.
Swiped right on him because his lead picture was kind of douchey, and I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to match with him. Might as well, he's kind of cute.
After matching on Tinder, Mark and Eileen started going on dates, just like any other couple. They don't think the concept of dating has changed much between generations.
It's exactly the same. People, especially of older generations, rag on Tinder because of the hookup culture. But what do you think bars were?
Adam and Casey, however, feel a little bit differently.
People aren't always honest about what their background is or their statistics that they put on there are not always the absolute truth.
Yeah.
And they stretch it a little.
Despite the differences in how each couple met, there's no denying the love they share.
She's the one that I wanted to marry. I mean, I was that sure of it.
Tiffany Salome, Inside Jacksonville.
How do you like to be romantic? Do you still like to go the old-fashioned way, or do you prefer to use the new technology to find your date? Let us know on Twitter at Inside Jacksonville UNF.
Technology has always been a part of education, but the overhead projectors and calculators of the past have been replaced. Smartboards, tablets, and even digital textbooks are now the norm, as I discovered when it comes to learning. For some teachers, what's new isn't always what's best.
Back in the day, kids were all for puzzle pieces, art class, and even toy dinosaurs. The technology world barely existed in any school systems. Now, children all around are using their iPhones and iPad quicker than their parents, like these two cuties, who say it's a piece of cake.
I like my iPad because there's a lot of games that are interesting and you get to play them.
If that doesn't make you think kids are geniuses, guess what their favorite game is? Minecraft.
Sherry Bozier, director of Growing Room, has 41 years of teaching experience, and she says that despite the problems, technology has its benefits when it comes to the learning environment.
41 years ago, I started in a little Jewish preschool in New Jersey, and it was a 3.5-hour program, and it was super simple. We did art in the morning. We had a quick little circle time that lasted 5 to 10 minutes long. We took them outside. We went outside and played, and then we came back inside. We had snack. We read a story, and then pretty much it was time to go home. So it has truly evolved from that into what we're doing today. We do technology in the afternoon, and the maximum amount of time that they get is 20 minutes, okay? So, which is absolutely wonderful.
Children of all ages are becoming more and more tech savvy, but while some say technology is a useful tool in the classroom, others might say it shortens attention spans and keeps them from playing outside and just being kids.
Rick Pinchot, the principal at Seaside Community Charter School, says that they handle things a little bit differently.
We're a very different school here in that respect. We believe that kids up through maybe 4th, 5th grade really should not be on computers at all.
A Pew Research Center survey of more than 2,000 teachers found that 71% think managing digital tools is an issue in their classrooms.
Our philosophy is kids need to be kids, and we want our children to want to come to school, and most of our children are very happy to be here.
Whether you're reading from a textbook or even a screen, there is no doubt that technology influences the way children are being taught.
The value of technology in the classroom remains under debate, but many schools still embrace it. What are your thoughts on these high-tech devices in schools?
Changes in the economy and job market are easily measured from generation to generation. Agriculture transitioned to manufacturing, and now we're evolving to a technology and service-based economy. But as Inside Jacksonville's Kelton Gibbons found out, the job market may be evolving, yet both young and old people are adapting.
Growing up, we're always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we usually answer with our dream job. Like Valeria Eichelberger. Eichelberger used to work at a restaurant for 12 years before branching out on her own. Okay. She said she always wanted to own her own business, but had to take a leap of faith.
You have a dream, you can live that dream, and you can do it, but you first have to believe in yourself. And I believe a lot of people in my generation, as myself, we can make it.
She now owns By Bees and Friends Cafe, a fairly new restaurant located on the corner of Lim Turner and Belvedere Street on Jacksonville's north side. However, Eichelberger says some days she wishes to have the security of a 9-to-5.
Some days I wake up and I wish I was going to somebody's job, because it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna have a consistent check.
But Eichelberger believes the tough times are just temporary, and her eye is on the prize.
One day when I am, like this multimillionaire and I have all 5 restaurants, different states or whatever, I'll appreciate these times when I had pretty much nothing.
Now let's face it, baby boomers and millennials are different, but when it comes down to the job market, passions and challenges are the common denominator. We spoke with Marcia Ladendorf, a professor at the University of North Florida who has worked for more than 40 years in the news industry. And unlike others during her college days, Ladendorf decided to pick a career that she was not only interested in, but something she was truly passionate about.
It's funny, I was talking about in class today, the Watergate scandal was what made me pursue the path that I've chosen. Watergate broke when I was your age and I was in college. I ditched a lot of classes to watch the Watergate hearings, and I was just so in awe of the power of truth-telling and journalism.
Ladendorf says challenges in her career age back from decades ago.
Well, that was a long time ago in the early 70s, and while I'm sure that some of those challenges still remain, there weren't very many women in the business.
Ladendorf says that money seems to be the driving force for both the millennial and baby boomer generations when choosing a career, but reveals that's never been the case for her.
When I was younger, I didn't care. As long as I could pay my rent, and as long as I could put food on the table, I really didn't care, as long as I was doing something that was exciting, that was exhilarating, that made me feel as if I was making a difference.
Kelton Gibbons, Inside Jacksonville.
Well, even though we find many differences amongst the generations, the job market is often a great unifier.
Coming up next, generational differences are often front and center when it comes to worship and the role of religion in our lives.
Also, after the break, from fashion and hairstyles to pet rocks and iPods, our pop culture can often define a generation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Inside Jacksonville. This month, we're looking at different generations and how they're dealing with changing times.
The easiest way to group different generations is usually by age. This includes baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and more. Inside Jacksonville's Katie Connors takes us a closer look at generational evolution through pop culture and things like what music we listen to, and of course, what we're wearing.
Jamming out to your favorite song or rocking your favorite outfit are 2 ways to express your individuality. Although the concept is the same, the way we do these things have changed. Whether you listen to it or make it a part of your life, your musical taste and style is as unique as people are different. Rock lover and local drummer Neil Hornick says that music now is losing the flavor that the music he loved growing up had. Hornick says that his love for rock bands like Godsmack and other metallic music fuels him daily. Kurt Cobain is one of the many artists that play a huge influence on Hornick's appreciation for music.
Way different now than when I grew up, because I grew up in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, and the music then was more raw. Now again, it's more, more perfect, I guess you could say.
He says that music is what he lives to do. He compares his relationship with music to fish taking to water. Hornick describes his clothing style as rocking, and his signature look is often finished off with a bandana. He says he wore grunge before grunge was cool.
Each generation, down to each individual person, all have an opinion on what music and clothing styles are best. However, some people argue that it all just repeats itself.
Everything kind of goes around, so chances are in like 5 or 10 years, I'll be really on board with whatever is in style.
Laura Hoffman, senior at the University of North Florida, says the way she dresses is inspired by the music she listens to. Hoffman appreciates that many of the more modern styles are becoming trendy again. Hoffman says Dita Von Teese is one of the main inspirations behind her clothing style. She says the way Dita rejected anything modern shows her that she can too.
It goes with whatever music I'm listening to at the time. Like if I'm wearing a mohawk, chances are I'm probably listening to Joan Jett, but if I'm dressed like pinup and rockabilly, I'm probably listening to like Elvis and Johnny Cash.
Hoffman says that style is your own and you don't need to conform to what is cool at the time. A generation is often defined by people who are born and living at about the same time, but a person's musical taste and style can only be defined by the boundaries set by oneself. This is Katie Connors with Inside Jacksonville.
So if you're interested in Neil's music or Laura's clothing, you can follow Neil's band Jinx on Facebook. And if you can find outfits like Laura's at shops like Grease Rags in San Marco or online at modcloth.com.
The way we worship is also evolving with technology. Apps, web pages, and social media can all play a role in how we function spiritually. Inside Jacksonville's Dawson Simmons explores how tech and religion are interacting.
We continue in the series Gospel Awakening.
Technology has changed the way people live their everyday life, and religion is not an exception. Zaria Taylor goes to church every week. She uses the technology to keep up with her religious studies.
It's easier to get access to the Bible and then look up scriptures and stuff like that.
With over 900,000 people in Jacksonville, churches use the technology as a tool to reach more people faster and easier. Christiana Lau goes online every time she needs to find information about her church, the Christ Church.
Definitely the website, which has a lot of information.
Churches organize events and share announcements through different online platforms, making it easier for attendants to find what they need in just one click.
If there's events, I check online. For hours, I check online.
In 2017, 27% of Americans define themselves spiritual but not religious, according to a study by Pew Research Institute. Those numbers have increased from 90% in 2012 to 27% in just 5 years.
There are some people who are believers. I go to a private school with a lot of believers. So
in her experience, the older generation attend church more often than her millennial peers.
We have mostly older members. We don't have too many teens or young adults.
Churches are looking to attract all generations to the community with the help of technology. They are using traditional elements such as the Bible and mixing them with new elements such as the smartphone. Ruby Eastland has seen the changes in her church since her generation, the baby boomers, started going to church.
Because there's a mixture, young and old, and we're kind of trying to mix the new generation with the older generation.
As any other current organization, churches use social media platforms to share announcements with the community and receive a greater feedback from attendants.
Using social media, you can come in contact with more people and get more information quicker.
Apps also play an important role in today's faith. Apps such as Giveify allow users to donate online instead of having to deposit the money directly at the location.
I think Christ Church really utilizes technology, and it really gets how that's an integral part of everyone's day-to-day life.
Jocelyn Simmons, Inside Jacksonville.
While technology can be useful, it's probably still a good idea to silence your phones when attending services. Does your church have an app that they use? Tell us at unftv.com.
In the business world, nothing is more important than successfully marketing to your target audience. How that's done can vary depending on who you're trying to reach. Inside Jacksonville's Morgan Young shows us how some local businesses are trying to reach their targets and make a difference.
Business is booming in Jacksonville more than ever, but the constant change in demographics makes it difficult to market to each generation. There's a disconnect in how businesses communicate and market to their customers today. This disconnect in generational marketing could be killing profits without even knowing. Jackie Lacey, Director of Marketing and Education with Floriology Institute, gives us some insight.
A lot of the industry has changed, and it's changing almost on a daily basis. We can't get comfortable, we can't get sedate, we have to constantly adapt to change and welcome it and actually look for it ourselves.
According to a study by AARP, baby boomers spend the most money across all product categories, but are targeted by just 5 to 10% of marketing.
You've got such a smaller market as far as reaching a millennial, where with baby boomers you could do newspaper ads, television ads, magazine ads. The main thing is really recognizing what the division is and how to be effective with each of those generations.
For a small business owner like Anna McMillan, an old school and cost-effective approach is needed in order to reach baby boomers.
Sometimes I'll throw in some old school marketing tactics, like I'll leave my cards around at salons, so maybe sometimes they like having a piece of paper versus just Googling stuff online.
The Pew Research Center says that social media is popular with both millennials and baby boomers. With at least 88% of millennials and 72% of baby boomers active on social media, it's hard to ignore that kind of trend.
It's really important to have a really strong presence on social media because I think that it's the only way people really will find you.
As the market continues to change with each generation, it's important to adapt your marketing strategy to appeal to your target audience. In order for businesses to reach millennials, more of an online or social media marketing presence is key. On the other hand, if your target audience is baby boomers, maybe more print advertising or billboards are the way to go. Local entrepreneur and DJ Tony Sinka says that a more upfront and in-your-face approach is the way to reach millennials.
One of the hardest parts about marketing to millennials is just getting their attention. The era of 140 characters or less has really impacted the way that I have to approach my advertising. But you really have to catch millennials' attention within the first 5 seconds. If it doesn't get me, I'm on to the next post. The most important thing that you can do to get access to consumers is social media.
2.46 billion people are using social media worldwide. In order to stay relevant in today's market, businesses will have to adapt to the changes and keep up with the trends. Morgan Young, Inside Jacksonville.
For more information, you can go to pewresearch.org and use the built-in search engine, or you can also participate in the research yourself. Coming up after the break, we'll try to debunk some generational myths.
And we'll show you the different ways people do their shopping and maybe even teach you something new. Stay with us. Inside Jacksonville. We'll be right back.
Hey, and welcome back to Inside Jacksonville. Today we've been looking at the ways we are bridging generational gaps.
Even the way we shop is changing. Now, instead of going to the mall, we can bring the mall home and shop online. Inside Jacksonville's Nakia Heath shows us these different shopping options and how dependent you are.
Maya Lamsel says that crowded malls and easy access to technology has driven her to do most of her shopping online.
Only because of traffic, it's hectic going to the town center and dealing with all those people. And online is just very easy. It's at my fingertips. When I'm bored, I can just log on to their website real quick and just buy whatever I need.
Lamsel typically only shops in stores if she needs something that day. Access to shopping apps has made it easier for her to buy clothing, but in last-minute circumstances, shopping online just isn't an option.
I would shop in store more if I need something for that day or that weekend and I don't want to, pay extra for quick shipping.
The thrill of receiving a new package is something Lamzo loves about online shopping. It's so easy for her to buy clothes off of her phone that she doesn't need to go to the store to shop. Carolyn Williams says that not having to go to work gives her leisure to shop, but going to the stores makes her experience much more worthwhile.
Typically, I go out to shop at least twice a week. I'm retired now, so it gives me an opportunity to get out and do some exercising and also to pick up some gifts for family and friends.
Digital shopping is standard procedure across the millennial age bracket, but there are some differences in how the younger and older generation go about shopping, online and offline. While the millennials prefer to have them all at their fingertips, older generations say they prefer to come to stores because it's more accessible and enjoyable.
I like to come out to the mall because I like to touch the fabric and try the items on to make sure that it's a perfect fit, and also to make sure that the items are quality and the price is right.
Technology has made it easy for younger generations to avoid having to go in stores to find the products they want. But Williams says that millennials don't take the time to explore the full shopping experience.
Yeah, the younger generation, they are just so lazy. They just want to point, stroll, and click. They don't want to come out to the mall and see what the manufacturers have to offer. They don't care about the quality of the product. They just want to get something quick, fast, and easy and keep it moving.
Nikia Heath, Inside Jacksonville.
Shopping habits can differ depending on what you were born in, and one thing's for sure, the evolution of technology and the internet has made buying the products you want easier than ever.
Don't be so quick to point the finger at millennials for being this year's problem generation. Turns out that every generation has a set of stereotypes that are less than squeaky clean. Inside Jacksonville's Corin Gainey takes us on a trip through the years.
Within the past 124 years, we've had 7 generations, each instilled with their own sense of pride.
I thought that we were the largest generation. I think we were at one point in time. For post-World War II, they kind of call them the me generation. It's all about me.
15 to 17 years, a new generation is born. And with each new generation comes a new set of cultural norms that become their defining factors in history. It's easy to stereotype a group of people for being too tech-dependent or not heavily involved in politics. But how much does the average person really know about the generations that came before and after their own? We put the average Jacksonville citizen's knowledge to the test.
We asked questions like, which generation is known for their 80% employment rate?
Generation X.
Millennials?
Which generation is most likely to identify as LGBT?
Generation Z?
Generation Z.
It turns out we don't have each other as figured out as we thought we did. So what are the effects of these stereotypes?
I think they do. They haven't affected me. I mean, besides adults telling us, like little millennials, that, oh, you're just a millennial, so you don't understand. But they were like a millennial at some point, so.
That's when people hear about their stereotypes. They think that they have to fit in and be that certain way, but they don't necessarily have to.
Corin Gainey, Inside Jacksonville.
At the end of the day, it looks like the best way to avoid succumbing to stereotypes is to be a little more empathetic. Find more things you have in common. There's often more common ground than you might think. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Inside Jacksonville.
If you missed anything from today's program, just visit our website, unftv.com, and click on Inside Jacksonville. You'll find expanded versions of our stories, photos, interviews, and other extras. That's unftv.com, Inside Jacksonville.
You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Inside Jacksonville. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time, Inside Jacksonville. Yeah?